out to their show. Buy me some winners and Cracker Jack. I don't care if there's only one nut, and it's root for the prizes. If they don't pick right, it's a shame. And it's 1-2, a free runner on base at the new ball game.
All right, the Sticks has returned, and not just a return, but a return of triumphant proportions. We are 3-0 today. The 3-0 came early. If you've been paying attention and watching the show, you know that we were treading water, trying to break down the handicapping in a smooth fashion, and it just reached a point where we were getting nickeled and dimed on the vig by the juice we were paying by being just at a break-even mark. So I took some time off. It was tough to run the show single-handedly and to write the material and to do the bits and to do the level of handicapping that we've come to expect and adhere to. So the result was that I just needed to take some time off, do the adjustments, and therefore we return triumphantly 3-0 today, and pretty straightforward winners. We had Minnesota put up 3 runs right in the top of the first, and they needed to get to 5.5. They were against the pitcher. It was the 3rd time this season they were going against this guy, and they played 7 runs. It was a straightforward winner, and that was the most difficult game that we had. We also had our over with the team total for San Diego, and San Diego puts up 2 in the first, 9 in the second, and beats their 4.5 team total before we'd even had 2 complete innings. And in Seattle, we had the over 7 runs there. Welcome. Hey, I told you Marco was coming back, and here he is joining us from the boonies. He's back. And so I told you he was going to be here. So we go 3-0 tonight. We were 8-1 with our play. Well, it was 8-1 in the Seattle game. And so a 3-0 return, and we did the work, and that's where we needed to get to. So it's nice to be back. Nice to have Marco back, although it's unclear whether he's really returned or if that was just a apparition. But we are so happy to have him back. And not only is Marco back, but so is DD from the CC. He just peppered my mailbox today with all sorts of updates. And it looks like nationally there's a little bit of some positive news about the amount of COVID cases happening, but you can't say the same thing about the Mets. This was a team that was just deteriorating, and it's almost like there was a premonition that they were about to have positive testing. So the Mets are sidelined right now, but we are doing great. And just with this triumphant return, and with Marco's return from the Sticks, can't wait to hear how he's doing. Marco, welcome into the show. You found us. Hey, you have changed, my friend.
Man, whoa.
Welcome. Great to see you. You come in strong. You looks like you got a new look going. A look that comes from the hills.
Well, there's a real story behind this. I don't know if you're going to have time for it, but it was a crazy, crazy time up there. Because I had a lot of time to meditate, and I was wondering, I was thinking about everybody was going crazy about that grand slam that Tatis hit with,
right.
They were way up. It was near the end of the game, and it was a 3-0 count, and so you figure he's going to let the pitch go by, and the unwritten rule,
right?
If the guy grooves it in, then you let it go because it's a 3-0 count. And of course, he tees off on it. And so I ask you, are these unwritten rules? Is that still a thing in baseball?
Apparently, there are people who have real issues with it, but it's still a thing because of the unwritten rule of what happens to this guy in real baseball the next time he comes up to bat. If he breaks the unwritten rule, he gets hit with a 98-mile-per-hour fastball in the head. This is why it's an unwritten rule. But these guys aren't willing to take a few game suspension. They aren't willing to stand up for themselves. And so why should there be an unwritten rule if there's no enforcement of the unwritten rule? The whole point of a rule is that it's enforced.
Yeah, I mean, it has the word rule in it, then it should have the action of enforcement. But I got a little deeper because, when I was in the woods, I was a little solitary. And and so I decided to take my time, go into the woods. There's granite stone fences on these woods that go back to the 1600s, German and Dutch immigrants, upstate New York. And so, what I'm going to get into. I had to summon the baseball gods. And so I did what everyone knows you have to do if you're in the know. I used all my effort to get those granite stones piled into a pyramid. I started a little fire with ash wood baseball bats. I sprinkled, pulverized lime all over the granite stones. These are ancient granite. You feel the oldness of these stones. I'm in upstate New York. I mean, I'm talking old. And then I, into that nice fire that I got going, I sprinkled a little pine tar in there to get the smoke going. And I got into the catcher's crouch. And as if I were going to be giving signs to the catcher, I did the 999. And, I expected to get the whole table of gods to be there, which we know is Cy Young, Dazzy Vance, Al Spalding, and Ty Cobb.
Yeah.
And there was only one guy Ghost, I guess we can call him to be clear, that showed up from the table of the baseball gods, and it was Al Spalding. I mean,
of course,
right? The guy that could pitch back-to-back doubleheader. And I was like, well, where's the rest of the council? I mean, I'm here. How many times am I going to be here with this ancient granite into a pyramid with all the full moon and all the elements going? Well, he said, of course, Ty Cobb was loaded. He said that Dazzy Vance doesn't even know he's dead. He's still working out. He still thinks he's going to get on with a travel team or something. He's tireless. And and I hate to report to you, but I got used to the toothpick up there. I hate to report to you, but Cy Young is very upset that we replaced him with Dazzy Vance on the Best Pitcher award. So, but we had Al, and because I took all that time to summon them, and I guess he hasn't been summoned in a while. He spoke to me. I'm going to have to read what I was able to scribble down because I'm writing by moonlight.
Yeah.
So forgive me for my performance, and everything. But he spoke to me in kind of a limerick. He says, rules that are written are there to be changed. Like the tides and the seasons, they are never the same. Rules unwritten are no different for sure. They must be changed with time so our game can endure. And what do I have here? Yeah, and so and he took a little break, and then he said, "And those who have known me know I'm not one to complain, but auto runners on second, that's simply insane. How far must we go to keep our grand game alive? If it must be ghost runners, then I shall abide." And he left. So that was the limerick he had, and it was written very sloppy. I would have been able to do it much more smoothly. As you can see, I'm a mess. I'm sweating. But as he was, fading into the night, into the underworld, his suspenders got caught on a tree branch. So these are Al Spalding's ghost suspenders.
Beautiful. And
I'm going to write that down better. As you can see, it's very sloppily written, but that was the limerick he said. So I think one has to assume that written or unwritten, the rules should change for the times so the game can endure. That's what I got from it. And these suspenders.
And you did what it took to be a part of the spirit and the camaraderie of it all. And you were out in the community. So you've come back a changed man. And some of the power has melded into us as we go with our triumphant return 3-0 tonight. And
yes.
So I think we should
should we give it to the suspenders, to the power of the suspenders, that nice 3-0?
Of course. So I think we should look at tomorrow's games. It's a full slate. Of course.
All right, let's go right into the first reads. Did I miss the COVID corner?
We'll save that for tomorrow night.
Okay.
And spam texts are coming. Dr. Doug has loaded up our box with a number of COVID corners, and so we're set. He's got all sorts of theories. He
hasn't loaded up too much because, just for the case of safety, we want to keep it to 5 or fewer because we don't want too much of a crowd.
Right.
Within the rules of COVID. There's no more big crowds, so we don't want our box too crowded. We don't want we want to just stay within the spirit of the COVID-ness.
Right. So make sure you tune in if you're watching tomorrow night to maybe see a double Doug, Dr. Doug from the COVID corner.
Well, yes.
Tomorrow's slate is just fascinating because it's Sunday. You know how I feel about Sunday. Series wrap up, and Baltimore just beat Boston. You got
that was an interesting game. I mean, Santander was the hero of that game just to tie it.
Yep.
And I think he's on the short list for the MVP team, man, the most valuable most valuable tournament player, at least one of the better players in the American League.
Yeah. The Angels and Oakland go at each other. The Angels look good today. They have now split that series. Bundy against Montas. Bundy looked terrible his last outing, and so is he regressing. Philadelphia and Atlanta. Well, what an interesting game that was tonight with Atlanta getting the win. I had a personal play on Philadelphia on the first 5, and so that was nice. I didn't think it rose to the level of sharing and or putting out as a play, but tomorrow is Philadelphia going to get a win out of this series or not? And Ponce de Leon goes for St. Louis tomorrow, and he's due for a win. Is Milwaukee going to get swept by lowly Pittsburgh? Brubaker against Bruins? Burns, I call him Bruins because he's always Bruin.
That's an interesting one.
Right? So is there anything that stands out to you on the slate?
What was that Toronto game?
You got Thornton going for Toronto, who it's such a strange pitching matchup. It's a short turnaround for Thornton. He was making he got rocked last time out, so it wasn't that long.
I'm interested in that game. I don't know what they did tonight though, because I really just got in from Poughkeepsie.
Bats were freezing cold. Bats were freezing cold. They left some guys on base and went into extra innings, and they lost.
All right, because they won 6 in a row before that. I mean, I'm interested in that team. And who's pitching on the other side of that game?
On the other side is a guy named Fleming, who is making his major league.
Fleming, Dr. Fleming's son.
Yeah, he's making his major league debut.
All right, man. I'm going to pick that game. I don't even want to. That's my first. That's what I'm going to demand that you do a play on. That's our first free flyer. Will it be distracting if I do an impersonation? You're next, Poughkeepsie. That's my Larry King.
That's great. All
right.
Great. So the first free flyer is 10-5. Hasn't been enacted upon since last Sunday or Monday, so it's nice to get that started up again.
Yeah.
And look forward to another solid performance tomorrow. We'll send out some plays and we'll be right back here. Great to have you back safe, Mark. Thanks for tapping into those baseball gods. Thanks for getting it all together. And
hey man, I barely did get it together, man. But I'm not happy that I come in all rough-hewn like this, because what I do is like to try to add rough-hewn efficiency, and I don't want to be rough-hewn myself.
it's a subtle difference.
But the toothpick, the suspenders coming from the real sticks, and actually having to commune with ghosts, it takes a little out of a guy.
Yeah, right on.
And it's 1-2, a free runner on base at the new ball game.